Our discussion on the anticipated unveiling of the budget. Next is Olive Barrows with a look at the dimension of the standard gauge railway on the budget. Olive?
Ken, the SGR topic remains a hot potato, and now especially as the COVID-19 pandemic has hit the economy hard. And Kenyans are curious if it will ever break even. At a time when the Treasury CS, Ukur Yatani, is scratching his head on how to finance this budget, he also has to think about tens of billions to pay SGR's operational debts. Madaraka Express has lost its momentum. The dreaded COVID-19 stopping it cold in its tracks, albeit temporarily. But it's far from the only obstruction in its path. The Budget and Appropriations Committee of the National Assembly sounding the alarm on some 38 billion shillings in pending bills, which could force the operator, China Road and Bridge Corporation, to pull out of the daily operations. Once again, the project's viability is in question.
If you look at the economic situation as it is now, SGR might not be viable. I don't think a project like SGR or a big airport can be viable in a few years. It takes a lot of time.
The cargo transportation business facing violent headwinds. Hauliers and freighters up in arms over requirement that they transport imported cargo aboard the SGR for clearance in Nairobi.
Despite the urge to make the railway line SGR pay for itself, we should not forget about the other smaller people who invested in transport. We don't need to force people to use the service. Chema, charge user. I'm sure you can finish the rest of that.
Several years and close to 600 billion shillings later, many taxpayers still believe they haven't gotten value for money, questioning why the terms of the contract are shrouded in mystery.
This is where my biggest critiques reside, but that is okay, for they are not alone. They are in fellowship with the colonizers who called our railway the Lunatic Express. But those who called it the railway to nowhere did not realize at that time that they were describing this great city of Nairobi.
That's why one reason why SGR has become very controversial, because the terms of the contract are not public. If you, at any time you don't give people information, they come up with conspiracies. They come up with their own rumors. So I think one way to make or to settle the issue of SGR is to make public the contracts under which the money was borrowed, the interest rates, the way it was to be managed after it was transferred to the Kenyan government.
As the Madaraka Express roars on its way, another concern is the huge public debt it's left behind. Is it a result of an insatiable appetite?
The biggest problem we have in this country, in my opinion, is that we are not very good negotiators. So when we come to negotiate for a project, we seem to get the lowest part of the stake. So if we are good negotiators, we probably could have got a good value for the money.
In the harsh light of the post-COVID-19 market, the BIC report cautions that Kenya can no longer afford to prop up the so-called railway to nowhere at the expense of already fledgling businesses.